Have you ever blamed the world for your problems? Your job, your family, your luck, your past, your circumstances? Have you ever said, "If only I had more money, if only I had better opportunities, if only someone would help me, then my life would be different"? I said those words for 5 years. 5 years of working hard but going nowhere. 5 years of survival but no success. 5 years of hoping but never changing. Until I met someone who asked me one question. One simple question that destroyed everything I believed. What if the problem isn't the world? What if the problem is how you think? That question changed my life, not slowly, completely. Let me tell you about the day I stopped thinking like I was poor and started thinking like I was rich. Even though I had no money, even though nothing had changed on the outside, everything changed on the inside.
My name is Daniel. I'm 32 years old, and 5 years ago I was working 3 jobs, but I was still poor. Not just poor with money, poor with hope, poor with energy, poor with dreams. I worked at a restaurant in the morning, washing dishes, cleaning tables, taking orders. I worked at a delivery company in the afternoon, carrying boxes, driving packages, running everywhere. And at night, I worked at a small store, organizing shelves, helping customers, closing late. 3 jobs, 7 days a week, 14 hours every day. And at the end of every month, I had barely enough money to pay rent and eat. I was exhausted, frustrated, angry. But the worst part? I blamed everyone. I blamed my boss for paying me too little. I blamed my parents for not giving me opportunities. I blamed the government for not helping people like me. I blamed the economy, the system, my bad luck. Everyone was responsible for my life, except me. I would sit in my tiny apartment at night, eating cheap noodles, looking at the broken ceiling, and thinking, why does this happen to me? Why is life so unfair? When will someone save me? My friends would say, "Daniel, you work so hard. Why don't you try something different?" And I would say, "Different? Like what? I don't have money. I don't have time. I don't have connections. What am I supposed to do?" They stopped giving advice because I had an excuse for everything. Until one day, one ordinary Wednesday morning, when everything changed. I was at the restaurant. It was 6 a.m. I was washing dishes in the back. My hands were cold from the water. My back was hurting. My eyes were tired. I looked at the clock. 14 more hours of work today. Same as yesterday. Same as tomorrow. I felt something break inside me. Not physically, but mentally. Emotionally. I put down the plate I was washing, walked outside, sat on the steps behind the restaurant, and I just cried. Not loud crying,
just silent tears, because I was so tired, so stuck, so hopeless. That's when I heard a voice. Long day? I looked up. An old man was sitting next to me. I hadn't even noticed him. He was wearing simple clothes, had kind eyes, and a calm smile. You work here? Here and 2 other places. 3 jobs? He asked. Yes, and I'm still broke. He was quiet for a moment. Then he said something strange. Can I ask you a question? Sure, I said. What do you want? I looked at him. What do I want? I want money. I want to stop being poor. I want my life to be easier. Okay, he said. But what do you really want? If you could build any life, any dream, what would it look like? I laughed, a tired, bitter laugh. That's a nice idea, but dreams don't work for people like me. Why not? Because I don't have money, I don't have time, I don't have help. I'm just trying to survive. He looked at me for a long time. Then he said the words that changed everything. You know what your biggest problem is? What? I asked.
You're thinking like a poor person, so you're staying poor. I felt angry. Thinking like a poor person? I am poor. That's not thinking, that's reality. No, he said gently. Being poor is about money. Thinking poor is about mindset. And mindset, you can change. I didn't understand. What does that even mean? It means, he said, you're stuck not because of your job. You're stuck because of your thoughts. You think small. You blame others. You wait for someone to save you. That's poor thinking, and poor thinking creates a poor life. I wanted to argue, but something in his voice stopped me. Let me show you something, he said. He pulled out a small notebook from his pocket. I'm going to give you a challenge. 7 days, 7 lessons about how rich people think. You don't need money to learn them. You just need an open mind. Why would you help me? I asked. He smiled. Because 20 years ago, someone helped me. I was just like you. 3 jobs, no hope, blaming everyone, until someone taught me how to think differently. And it saved my life. He wrote something in the notebook, ripped out the page, and handed it to me. Day 1, he said. Read this when you get home tonight. Try it tomorrow, then come back here. Same time, I'll give you day 2. I looked at the paper. It said, stop thinking about survival. Start thinking about transformation. Ask yourself, what would I do if I knew I couldn't fail? I looked up, but the old man was gone, just disappeared into the morning crowd. I folded the paper, put it in my pocket, and went back to washing dishes. But something had changed. Not in my life, in my mind. A small crack, a tiny question. What if he's right? What if I am thinking wrong? That night, I sat in my apartment, exhausted. But I remembered the paper. I pulled it out, read it again. What would I do if I knew I couldn't fail? I closed my eyes, and for the first time in years, I let myself imagine.
If I couldn't fail, I would open a small cafe. I loved making coffee. I loved talking to people. But I always said, that's impossible. I don't have money. I don't have experience. It's too risky. But what if I stopped thinking about why I can't and started thinking about how I could? I took out a piece of paper and I wrote, my goal, open a small cafe in 5 years. Just writing those words felt scary, exciting, alive. The next morning, I went back to the restaurant. Same steps, 6 a.m. The old man was there, waiting. You came back, he said. I did the exercise, I said. I wrote a goal. What is it? I want to open a cafe. He smiled. Big goal? For me? Huge! Good, he said, because small goals keep you small. Big goals make you grow. He handed me another paper. Day 2. I read it. Stop blaming, start owning. Whatever happens in your life, you choose your response. That's your power. This is hard, I said. I know. But blaming keeps you weak. Responsibility makes you strong. Over the next 5 days, I met him every morning. Each day, a new lesson. Each lesson, a crack in my old way of thinking. Day 3. Stop waiting for motivation. Build discipline. Do what you need to do, even when you don't feel like it.
I started waking up at 4:30 a.m. before work to read, to learn about business, to plan my cafe, even when I was tired, even when I didn't want to. Day 4. Never stop learning. Your mind is your greatest treasure. Feed it daily. I started listening to audiobooks while delivering packages, business, leadership, success stories. Every minute became a chance to grow. Day 5. Time is more valuable than money. Stop wasting it. Start investing it. I looked at my phone's screen time. 4 hours a day on social media. 4 hours I could use to learn, to plan, to build. I deleted the apps, used those 4 hours to study, to practice making coffee, to design my future cafe on paper. Day 6. Failure is not the end. It's the teacher. Every mistake is a lesson in disguise. I remembered every time I tried something and quit. Every time someone said no and I stopped. Every time I failed and thought, I'm not good enough. But what if those failures were preparing me, teaching me, making me stronger? Day 7. The last morning. I was excited, nervous. This man had changed my mind in 1 week. What would the final lesson be? He was sitting on the steps, smiling. Last day, he said. I don't want it to end, I said. These lessons, they're changing me. That's good, he said. But the real change starts now. He handed me the final paper. I read it. See your future in your mind, every day, with emotion, with detail. Make it so real that your brain believes it. Then your body will follow. Visualization, I said. Yes, he said. Rich people don't just work hard. They see clearly. They imagine their success so strongly that it pulls them forward. He stood up, looked at me. Daniel, you've been coming here for 7 days. You've been learning. But learning means nothing without action. I know, I said. I'm going to act. I'm going to save money, learn everything, and one day I'll open that cafe. Good, he said. But remember, the mindset you build today will determine the life you live tomorrow. He started to walk away. Wait, I called. Will I see you again? He turned, smiled. You don't need me anymore. You have everything you need right here. He pointed to his head. And here, he pointed to his heart. And then he walked into the crowd, gone. But he left me with something more valuable than money. He left me with a new way of thinking. From that day, everything changed. Not overnight, but daily, piece by piece. I still worked 3 jobs, but I wasn't just surviving anymore. I was building. I saved money. Not all of it, but some. Every week, in a jar labeled Cafe Fund. I practiced discipline, waking early, learning constantly, cutting distractions, investing time. I stopped blaming. When something went wrong, I asked, what can I do about this? Not, why does this happen to me? I kept going through failure. My first attempt to find a cafe location? Rejected. My first loan application? Denied. My first business plan? Laughed at. But I didn't quit, because I was thinking like the rich now. Failure wasn't the end. It was the path. Every morning, I visualized. I closed my eyes, saw my cafe, the smell of coffee, the sound of people laughing, the pride of owning something I built. And slowly, my life started matching my mind.
2 years after I met that old man, I quit my 3rd job. Not because I was lazy, but because I was ready. I had saved enough, learned enough, grown enough. 3 years after that conversation on the restaurant steps, I opened my cafe. It was small, just 10 tables, but it was mine. The day I turned the key and opened the door for the first time, I cried. Not sad tears, grateful tears. Because 5 years ago, I was washing dishes, blaming the world, thinking small, waiting for someone to save me. And now, I was standing in my own business that I built with my own hands, my own mind, my own new way of thinking. My cafe grew, slowly, 1 customer at a time, 1 good cup of coffee at a time, 1 genuine conversation at a time. People started coming not just for coffee, but for the feeling, the energy, the hope. Because I wasn't just serving drinks, I was serving possibility. Proof that you can change your life by changing your mind. One morning, 5 years after opening the cafe, I was making coffee. The door opened. An old man walked in. I froze. It was him, the man from the restaurant steps. "Hello, Daniel," he said, smiling. You came back," I said.
I had to see, he said. Did you do it? Did you build the dream? I looked around at the warm lights, the happy customers, the cafe I created from nothing but thoughts and discipline and belief. I did, I said, because you taught me how to think. No, he said gently, I didn't teach you anything new. I just reminded you of what you already had. A mind that can change. And when your mind changes, everything changes. I made him a coffee, the best one I could make. And we sat together, two men who understood something most people never learn. Your life is a reflection of your thoughts. Change your thoughts. Change your life. Before he left, I asked him, "Why did you help me?" He smiled. Because someone helped me, and now you'll help someone else. That's how it works. One mind awakens another, until the whole world wakes up. He walked out, and I never saw him again. But I didn't need to, because he left me with the greatest gift, a rich mindset. Not rich with money, rich with possibility, rich with discipline, rich with hope, rich with the power to create.
And that's how I learned that being rich has nothing to do with your bank account. It has everything to do with your mindset. Maybe you're like I was, working hard but going nowhere, blaming circumstances, thinking small, waiting for someone to save you. I want you to know, the person who saves you is you. Not someday, today. Let me share the 7 lessons that changed my life, the lessons the old man gave me, the lessons that can change yours. 1. Set big goals. Not survival goals, transformation goals. Ask yourself, what would I do if I knew I couldn't fail? Write it down. Make it real. 2. Take full responsibility. Stop blaming. Start owning. Whatever happens, ask, what can I do? That question gives you power. 3. Build discipline. Don't wait for motivation. Motivation is a feeling. Discipline is a choice. Do what you need to do, even when you don't feel like it. 4. Never stop learning. Read, listen, grow. Your mind is your greatest asset. Feed it every single day. 5. Manage your time. Stop spending it. Start investing it. Every hour is a choice. Choose growth. 6. Keep going through failure. Failure isn't the end. It's the teacher. Every no prepares you for the yes that changes everything. 7. Visualize your future. See it clearly. Feel it deeply. Make it so real in your mind that your life has no choice but to follow. These aren't just lessons about success. They're lessons about freedom, mental freedom, the freedom to create, the freedom to choose, the freedom to become. You don't need money to start thinking like the rich. You need courage. You need clarity. You need the belief that you are worth more than your circumstances. Say this with me. My life is in my hands. My thoughts create my reality. I choose big goals. I take full responsibility. I build discipline daily. I never stop growing. I manage my time wisely. I learn from every failure. I see my future clearly. I am changing my mind. So I am changing my life. You are not behind. You are not too late. You are not stuck forever. You are exactly where you need to be. To make the choice, to change your mind, to start thinking rich. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being open. Thank you for believing that you can become more. I'll see you in the next story. But more importantly, I'll see you in your new life, the one you're about to build.